Son of a Night Fury, written by Dragonfan 101-13. Shedding scales after Spike, Hiccup and Toothless went to help get approval for the new staples and places for the dragons around Berg. They went back to Hiccup's house later after sunset so they could get some sleep. There was a lot of work the two of them will be needing to get done, and it's best they get what rest they can before they begin helping with the big changes that will be happening around Berg within the next few years. But as they went to bed that night, Spike started feeling something off. His scales suddenly started to itch badly again, almost like what had happened before he grew his wings, but he could have sworn they would have gone away after the end of the day. He doesn't know much about his own dragon type at all, so he doesn't know whether or not this was just part of his kind's growth, or if it's just a bad itch he'll need to ignore. But as the night passed, with the moon moving over Berg quickly as time fast-forwarded through the night, Spike could be seen tossing and turning in his hammock while scratching multiple parts of his body, from his arms, legs, tail, even his wings itched, which got really annoying after hours. Toothless and Hiccup slept soundly and didn't hear how often Spike tossed around to try and sleep. But just as Spike finally felt himself falling asleep, the sun unfortunately began to rise through the window which was just across from his hammock. Its rays shined in his face, making him groan tiredly while he opened his eyes. Seriously? Why did I put my hammock by the window? Spike asked with a groan while he leaned up a bit. He yawned tiredly and rubbed his eyes as he barely had an hour of sleep overnight. Ugh, what in the name of Thor was wrong with me last night? Spike asked himself while he heard Toothless groan a bit while he was waking up too. Can you not be so loud, son? Let's not wake up the terrible terrors outside, they'll get super loud if they do. Toothless groaned as he got on all fours after he slept on his back the whole night. He yawned a bit and shook his head before he opened his eyes, and soon enough, he saw Hiccup was waking up too like he normally does from the sunlight. Even under all these covers, it was still freezing last night. We're gonna need to keep a fire going from now on, guys. Hiccup said with a shiver while he got out from his covers, carefully standing down on his replacement leg before he got on his normal one. Hiccup stood up and yawned tiredly while he looked up at Spike, who was barely moving above them. Come on, Spike, let's not miss Astrid and the others at the halls. Morning meals are one of my dad's favorite parts of the day. Hiccup advised, which made Spike groan after he tried getting at least a few more minutes. Okay, I'm up. Spike said tiredly before he spread his wings a bit and leaned off of his hammock. Spike used his wings to help him safely land down in front of the two of them while still looking very tired. But the moment they saw him land down, Toothless and Hiccup both instantly woke up while looking shocked upon what they're seeing. Spike, are you okay? Hiccup asked nervously while Spike stretched his arms, clearly not noticing something off about him yet. No. I barely got an hour of sleep last night. I don't know if it was the cold, or if it was that stupid itch I kept feeling yesterday. I thought that damn thing would go away, but it just ruined my sleep last night. Spike said with some annoyance while he turned towards a nearby fire pit and lit it up since it was a bit cold. Toothless and Hiccup looked at each other nervously, both of them seeing something he can't yet, and they didn't know how to tell him about it. Do you see this too, Toothless? Hiccup asked with worry while he pointed at Spike, who hadn't heard them talking yet. That really wasn't just me. Thank the gods, I thought I was seeing things, Toothless replied, which Hiccup still didn't understand, but had an idea on what he meant. This isn't just a prank from the twins, is it? Hiccup asked as Spike was too tired to listen, and he just started to head to the door to get something to eat. No. I don't think they go this far with it. Something's wrong. Toothless said with worry before Spike finally turned back to them, which made them be quiet instantly. Are you two coming? The sooner we eat, the better. Hopefully it'll wake me up for the rest of the day, as long as this stupid itch doesn't keep stopping me. Spike said with anger while he scratched his arm again after feeling it again, and the two of them looked nervous on how to tell him this. Alright. This could be a problem. Hiccup said to Toothless, who nodded in agreement as they saw him go ahead to meet with everyone else. You think? Toothless replied with a slightly annoyed look before the two of them quickly headed after him, and as Spike walked through the village, still looking very tired and unable to focus fully right now, he hadn't noticed multiple dragons and villagers pass by him, all gasping and looking very shocked on seeing him for reasons he didn't know. And this didn't just stop there after they woke up. After they went to the halls to get something to eat, they met up with Stoic, Astrid and Godra along with the others for lunch. Spike still not able to notice it due to his lack of sleep, and the others only watched as he went eat something to get ready for today. Everyone was at the same table after meeting up with the actor, all of them not saying a word like they normally would. They could only stay silent as they saw Spike eating some fish and meat he grabbed earlier. Toothless especially couldn't stop looking at him. What they were seeing was so unexpected and so sudden, none of them could have seen this coming at all. But after what felt like over an hour of silence, Stoic quietly went over to Hiccup to ask him what's going on. Is he aware of what's going on, Hiccup? Stoic asked as Fishelgs was just reading the Dragon Manual to try and find info on this, but just like the info with Night Furies, they found nothing on what type he is. No. No one said a word to him about it. How has he not noticed the scales on the floor? Hiccup whispered back as they saw a lot of his purple scales had shed, and were on the ground, being replaced by something else. How long do you think it'll be until he notices? Ruffin whispered to her brother, who shrugged in response. Not really sure about this one honestly, but I bet he's gonna freak out once he does. Tuft replied as they both stood up to leave after figuring out where this is going. Well, me and Tuft have to go. Barf and Belch need their breakfast too. Ruffin announced as they quickly walked off to do so. See y'all later, guys. Tuft shouted before a door slam was heard off screen, and the others groaned a bit seeing them leave. Okay, that's it. Someone needs to speak up about this. Snotlet announced while he was looking at Spike and was about to point something out. Snotlet, don't you dare. Astrid warned before he just ignored it and asked what everyone else was thinking at this very moment. Spike, did you happen to look in a mirror? Just look at yourself since you woke up. Snotlet asked while he crossed his arms, making Gubber smack his helmet with his hood hand out of frustration for asking it. Don't ask him it right now. Gubber shouted with an upset look while he rubbed his head since it had hurt a bit. What? I'm not the only one thinking this, right? We all were wanting to ask him it. Snotlet said in defense, which finally made Spike look at them after being too distracted from his lack of sleep. What do you mean, guys? What's wrong? Spike asked as he put his food down to talk with them finally, and all of them looked very nervous on what to say right now. Just take a look at your arm, Spike. Godber answered while looking very worried about this, and upon hearing that, Spike finally looked at his arm, and most of his body to see what's wrong, and that's when he finally realized what had them so silent, and he himself became horrified on what he was seeing. Most of his scales had shed off his body overnight, when he didn't even realize it. Most of his arm was now covered in black scales, going up from his shoulder, down to his claw. And Spike looked completely shocked the moment he saw it. What? Spike shouted with shock before he quickly stood up and saw a nearby bucket of water nearby, and he didn't waste another second to run over to it to see his reflection, but as he grabbed the bucket and looked at his reflection, Spike gasped with fear after he finally saw himself. Half of his body had shed overnight, and he grew a bit more too, almost over 7 ft tall by now. Most of his purple scales were now gone, replaced with black scales that looked like a Night Fury's, and his tail was now much longer and also was partially black too, and even his wings had changed his color a bit. The top parts of them were now black too, while parts of the purple and green area around them could still be seen while also looking larger too. Even his spine was sharper now, while it was still mostly the emerald green color it usually is. Spike dropped the bucket in complete shock. His breaths were speeding up while he looked completely horrified upon seeing himself, and Toothless quickly came up to him to try and calm him down. It'll be okay, son, we'll figure this out, please don't. Toothless couldn't even finish that sentence before Spike made a very loud scream of fear after finally seeing his new features. The scream echoed through most of the village, waking up the other dragons living there. All of them were looking very concerned on where it came from. This even could be heard from where the twins were as they gave Barf and Belch some fish, and they both shook their heads knowing it'd react like that. You think we should help him? Ruffin asked while Barf and Belch looked towards where the noise came from with concern. Might as well, come on, let's see what's going on. Tuft replied as they went to the halls quickly while Hoodfang and the other dragons were making their way to it too. Spike fell to the ground in shock after he finally saw what he looked like, and everyone else quickly ran up to him to give him support as he looked at his new features. What's going on? What happened to my body? Spike shouted as Toothless helped him up so they could try and figure this out. We don't know, son, we all saw you looking like this once we woke up, none of us knew how it happened. Toothless answered as Spike tried walking while holding on to Toothless. Okay, Spike, let's try not to freak out. I know this is very shocking, but we need to. Hiccup tried to keep him calm, but Spike looked at him with terror, still freaking out over what's happening. How can I not freak out about this? I literally just woke up, and now I suddenly look like this. How can I stay calm? Spike shouted with fear while looking at his body, and Astrid answered that by coming up to him and giving him a hard slap to his face to snap him out of it, and even with his features, she still knew how to pack a punch despite how much larger he is. Did that help? Astrid asked while she crossed her arms, still looking worried over him, and after a small groan from him, he rubbed his face after a little mark was left from the punch. A bit, thanks. Spike said gratefully while he tried calming down, and just at that moment, the doors opened up again, and they all saw Hutvan and the other dragons that used to live in the ring. What's going on? We heard a really loud scream just outside. Is everything okay? Hutvan was about to ask what's going on, but the moment he saw Spike's features, all of them quickly shut their mouths and looked very shocked seeing it, and Spike just groaned a bit after seeing them coming. Sorry for that, guys. I don't know what's going on, none of us do. Spike said with fear while he sat down on a chair to process this, and Fischlgs went up to take in the new features he's showing now. Do you have any idea what could it cause this, Spike? Fischlgs asked while he looked through the dragon manual to try and find something to answer this, and the only thing Spike was able to remember the strange itch he was feeling just yesterday. It may have started once I felt a bad itch again. It was pretty similar to how I felt when I grew my wings. Why does everything change in me have to happen with an itch like this? Spike asked himself while he clutched his claws again, feeling a lot stronger as he now showed more traits of a Night Fury than before. I don't know, son, things like this just happen, and sometimes we just don't know when to expect it. Toothless said regretfully while Spike hugged his head to try and calm down, and everyone else was trying to figure out what to do. Okay guys, let's take a step back. I know this sudden change is shocking, but there may have been signs this could have happened before, right? Hiccup asked hopefully, which Spike kept questioning on how. What do you mean by that? Spike replied while Stoic listed out the things he noticed even with the short time he's been here. You've shown your father's strength, you can use plasma breath like you can, and you've been able to fly at fast speeds just like a Night Fury can, even when we didn't know it. It's possible you had parts of a Night Fury showing during the time you had spent with my son. Stoic pointed out, which was a true fact, and after hearing that, Spike took a deep breath and shot a plasma blast on the floor near the others, and it now appeared much stronger, more focused, and deadlier than his fire used to be, while still showing some green flame from it. It was mostly overtaken by the same color Toothless used as plasma breath, and it just left Spike more upset about it than anything. Me and my dad had suspicions about it before. But with this, it's clear as day. Spike said with a look of worry while everyone tried figuring out how this is possible. As if you being a walking talking dragon was already weird enough, now he's part Night Fury too. Fantastic. Snotlet shouted with frustration while everyone glared at him for a moment. Do not worry, Spike, I'm sure there's an answer to this. We know very little about where you came from, and what type of dragon you are still, so maybe this could be related to your heritage. Hiccup suggested while Fischlgs looked at them all after reading through the book. Hiccup, there's nothing in here that can explain this. We barely know anything about Night Furies to begin with, especially with the type Spike is. How can we figure this out? Fischlgs asked while Hiccup took the book and looked over it too, and like before, they found nothing on either of them currently, which was frustrating. Come on, Spike, I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. It's probably just a growth spurt. They happen so suddenly these days. Godra said as he tried to calm him down, but Spike just shook his head since it may be something else. No. This could be more than that. Growth spurts like this just don't happen. Dragons don't go through things like this when they grow, do they? Spike asked as he looked at Hutvan and the others, who just shook their heads in response. It usually passes by quickly for us, but for you, Spike, this is different. Hutvan answered, which Spike groaned at, and he finally started to stand up to get used to this. Do you have any idea on what we can do, guys? Astrid asked with concern while the twins came up to them finally after being silent for a while. What can we do? We're still getting used to living with dragons to begin with. How are we gonna be able to help Spike with this? Tufton asked while they looked at the others who were talking over it. We don't know you too, but we can't just rush through this without this. We need to take a bit and figure out what to do. Hiccup replied as Spike looked around in the background before his eyes widened with surprise after getting an idea. We may not have time for it, Hiccup. Do you know how cold it's been getting out there? If we have to go beyond the known maps to find out what to do, it isn't the best time for it right now. Astrid reminded while Spike was making his way to the door in the background while they didn't notice it at first. I think we may need to Astrid, but where would we even go to find any clues? Hiccup asked again just as Ruffin saw Spike take off into the skies without saying a word, making her smirk a bit seeing it. Why don't we ask Spike to see if he has an idea? Tuffin suggested, which made them raise an eyebrow. Where would he even think would be a good place to start? Snotlet asked while he crossed his arms while still looking frustrated, but as they turned to where Spike was, he was gone. What? Spike, where did you? Toothless asked before he suddenly felt the cold wind brush past him, and as they all looked to where it came from, they saw the door was wide open, and Spike was already a good distance away from Burke. Oh come on. Godber said as he slapped his face seeing him just fly off like that. You knew he left moments ago, didn't you? Stoic asked with an annoyed look while he looked at the twins, and Ruffin only shrugged her shoulders being asked that. Thought you'd figure it out sooner, guess not. Ruffin joked, which Astrid groaned at from hearing. Come on guys, let's follow him. Astrid ordered before she jumped on her dragon, who quickly ran off and took to the skies after him, and everyone else did the same so they can figure out where he's going. Spike flew at fast speeds within the skies while he headed towards an old place he and Toothless haven't been to in a while. He had a feeling they could find a clue there, and he hurried as fast as he could to find out. He was flying a lot faster than he used to do to his new features, and it's only left him questioning more on what else he's able to do now that he looks more like his father. Hiccup and everyone else was following closely behind after they left Burke. They'd been flying for quite a while now. Even as snow fell down over them, they did what they could to push through the cold. Where is he going? Astrid shouted as they all saw him take a turn to the right and began diving down somewhere, and they quickly followed suit in order not to lose him. How am I supposed to know? Toothless, you got any ideas? Hiccup replied while looking at him, and Toothless had an idea on where they're going. They remembered where this place was, and despite it being a while since they were last there, they still knew where to find it after all this time. Soon enough, after half an hour, Spike and the others finally made it to where he was trying to go. To everyone's surprise, they all saw him head towards a large island that was pretty far from Burke. It was mostly covered in snow at this point, and it didn't look like any people outside of Burke were living there, and they were all fascinated with the sight of it. What is this place? Hoodfang asked while he flew beside Toothless, who took in the sights of the place. It felt like ages since the last time he was here with Spike. This is the place I found Spike when he was an egg, and raised him as his father. Toothless answered with a concerned look while he remembered the many memories they spent here. Really? Why would he want to come back here? Hoodfang asked with surprise while Toothless shook his head, not knowing how to respond to it. There might be something here for us. Toothless replied as they saw Spike fly down towards an old grove with a large lake. It was still the same place Spike grew up at, and after he looked towards an old spot near the waterfall, he finally landed down near the entrance to a cave he hasn't been to in a while. The others soon landed down next to him after a long flight, all looking very concerned on why he brought them here. Spike, what's wrong? What is this place? Hiccup asked with concern while Spike walked into the cave, and the others followed behind to see what it is. Spike looked at the crystals along the walls of the cave. They still shone a beautiful light of their respective colors over the cave just like the last time he was here. He didn't think he'd come back here for a long time, but after his sudden change, there might be an answer here. Spike, please answer us. What is this place? Stoic asked while he crouched down to move through the place, and Spike sighed sadly as he looked back on his life here. This is the place where me and my dad grew up together. My egg was within this very cave, alone, without a parent, guardian, or anything to look after it. I remember being born here like it was yesterday, under Toothless's wing, and becoming a son right after it. Spike answered, which the others were surprised by. Really? This is where you grew up? Fishelgs asked with surprise while they kept moving, and Spike only gave a nod in response after hearing it. Yeah. Spike replied with a sad look before they all finally came into the open part of the cave. It looked mostly abandoned after Spike and Toothless left the place over a month ago. Not much had changed at all since then other than some icicles hanging from the ceiling. There wasn't any other dragons living here, and nothing had been here since. This entire island could be considered deserted if anything. This is your home. It's really nice, Spike. Astrid said with fascination while they saw him go up to the small corner where his egg used to be. Toothless soon came up to him to comfort him. Spike got on his knees and looked at a drawing he made of him and Toothless before he left, a memory to remind them of how long they've spent here, and that no matter what happens, this place will always be a safe haven for the both of them. Why would you want to come back here, son? Toothless asked with worry while Spike looked at his black scales, and back to the drawing to think over it. I just thought we could find something here, anything to help figure out what could be the cause of this. None of us know where I came from. And I just thought there'd be something here to help us see it. Spike said with tears as he looked down with sadness, and as he looked down, he did find something that must have been left behind. It was a single piece of the egg he hatched from, it's still looking fully intact despite being left here for a long time. Spike picked the thing up with a single claw, and he sighed with sadness seeing it. Even during the years I was raised here by you, I still questioned where I came from, what type of dragon I really am. And now that I'm looking more like you, I can't stop thinking about it. If my parents are out there, where are they? Who even were they? Why was I left here, alone? Spike asked with tears while the others looked down at him with regret. All of them felt bad for him since he doesn't know anything about where he came from. Spike, I know this is tough to take in, but sometimes, you won't ever get the answers you want. Things may always remain a mystery, and whether or not it's for better or worse, that's for you to find out. Astrid said with guilt while Spike looked at all of them with an upset look. How can we be so sure about that, Astrid? What if there's an answer for us somewhere out there, maybe not here, but there's got to be a place out there, right? Spike asked with a hopeful look while the others shook their heads. Spike, we don't know anything about where you came from. If there was a land out there full of talking dragons like you, you'd think we'd have heard of it by now, but we haven't. Snotlet pointed out, which makes Spike more sad at the thought of it. I hate to say this, but Snotlet's right, Spike. Even with what we know about the dragons here, we've never heard of anything like your type for centuries. Even when we all first came to Berg, we had never encountered a dragon like you, or heard any rumors regarding one. Stoic said with a stern look while he towered over him. Even if they are out there, we can't do anything about it now. We still have a ton of work to get done at Berg. We'll be needing to study and understand them to grow closer. Maybe once Berg becomes a better home for dragons, it'll let us travel more around the world and see what else there is out there. Gabra suggested, which Hiccup agreed with. He has a point. We may not know much now, but we might one day. I know this is a lot to take in, Spike, but we may not find the answers for a long time. But even if we don't, you still have Toothless. You still have all of us. We're here for you now, no matter what. Hiccup assured while he gave Spike a pat on the shoulder, which he sighed from hearing. As much as Spike hated to admit it, he may be right. With what little they know right now, finding an answer immediately won't be possible. They haven't been to any lands outside of Berg ever since they became at peace with the dragons, but even if there isn't, he at least has his friends there for him. I guess you're right, Hiccup. I'm sorry I dragged you all out here to this place. I just thought there could be something here for us, anything. Spike said regretfully while he looked at the eggshell in his claw, still questioning over what could have been him end up here. It's okay, Spike, we might find out one day, but right now, there's nothing we can do. But it was nice we got to see your old home, right? Fishelgs asked while Spike just started walking past everyone, all of which looked concerned for what to do. I guess so, but where are we gonna to now? Ruff asked as they all began to follow him to head home. Let's just head home for now, guys. The best thing we can do is help Spike get used to his new features. Since it's likely he's part Night Fury now, there's gonna be a lot he needs to learn. Toothless, you'll be able to help him out, right? Hiccup asked while looking at him, who looked confident he could do it. Like you have to ask, me and Hoodfang will do what we can to help him out, right? Toothless asked while looking to him next, and Hoodfang nodded respectfully hearing it. Of course, after what you all did to help us, it's the least I can do. Hoodfang said with a nod, which Hiccup was glad to hear. Great, come on guys, let's go home. Hiccup advised as they all began taking off into the skies again to head to Berg. Spike looked back on the island he grew up on once again, and despite them finding nothing here, he still questioned if they'll ever find answers about this. Is my own family even alive? If so, where are they? Spike asked himself while he looked ahead and saw everyone flying away, and not wanting to be left behind, he flew after them to keep them. Maybe one day I'll know. It may take years to find it, but at least I'll have them here for me. Spike told himself while he looked at his new traits, and hoped these could be important later on. I've got a lot of work to do, for now. I need to get used to these new features, but if there's one thing I'm glad about this, it at least gives me more to relate to with my dad. Spike finished with a small smile as everyone flew home. Spike may have many questions on where he came from, and who his family once was, but he's glad that no matter what, he'll have Toothless, and everyone else to help him, for now. He needs to get used to the new changes to his body. Thanks for